Vision Probes, welcome in. I'm glad to have you on here. Is this your first time interviewing with us, or have you interviewed before?
With you guys, yeah. First time.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Let me go ahead and pull up something to help us with that. I do run this show very different than the podcast circuit. How did you come across us?
On Podmatch, actually,
buddy.
you were one of the first 3 people that came up, and I was like, oh, this is, I was looking for ones that actually resonated, and you guys were the first one. I was like, all right, this is pretty good. Let's do it. Let's check it out.
Cool, man. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Alex Sanfilippo has built an amazing program.
It does seem very helpful. I could see it being helpful on both ends for sure, whether you're host a podcast or if you're trying to get on one.
Yeah, it's top notch. I've paid for a lot of systems, and that is by far my favorite software platform.
Is that where most of your leads are coming from?
I don't know. A lot of them are qualified, but we have a pretty good stack of depth of opportunities, and most of them we do have. So here's my truth, Ethan. You're financially wise. I think you've scaled past me in terms of growing pains, though, and like depth of infrastructure and what we're trying to pull off. And I'm out of my comfort zone.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So yeah, I'm a nurturer first. Like I'm a healer. I not like naturopath style, but I got into the business world an accident. I really love helping people. And so I was triple booked at 10 a.m. today, double booked for this. And that's a really hard thing for me. It's like, I want to be there for everybody.
What do I do?
So it's a weird, there's my humble brag for the day. But you're doing well. You're doing very well in your own respects. And so I share that as a mutual reality. We both know what it's like to.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. It's definitely had its challenges for the past 5 years, but we do what we can.
We joined Podmatch almost 2 years ago after I pestered Alex for a year through audio clips. So I'm very slow to make decisions typically, and so I finally literally just bought Podmatch with one of my executive assistants, and I was like, okay, we're gonna buy this because I bother him. I have no idea how it works, but please set it up. She calls me and she's like, hey, it's asking for all this info. I need your help. And I was like, all right. So I dove in, gave her the info, did the thing. We got the setup, and I let it go. And 2 days later, I sent Alex a StreamYard. I'm sorry, a Loom clip. And I said, hey man, I just wanted to find out, do you guys have any like bot problems, like automation problems? Because we've had over 100 appointments book with us in the last 24 hours. And I don't know if these are going to be great appointments or not. And so he responds to the Loom video. He's like, Jackson, nobody's ever had 100 appointments in that time. But like, you really hit a vein with people. And I'm like, okay, he's either a really good salesman or we're doing something right. So here we go on these appointments, and they were great, man. Podmatch has the best leads for sure. Right. We're looking for the best leaders. And so it's a great place to find the great leaders. And so we, fast forward 30 days, and my PayPal PayPal account has like $580 something in it. And I'm like, huh? It's from Podmatch.
What's happening?
So I sent him a Loom again. I'm like, hey, I think you got an accounting problem. You guys paid me, but I'm supposed to be paying y'all. What's going on? Yeah. I was like legitimately like confused for this poor guy. That's how Podmatch works. And I was like, well, you were cool without that.
So funny.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Yeah. So please lean into Podmatch and Alex Sanfilippo. They're great people. He's a great leader. He was so nice to me the whole time. I badgered him before I joined too. Like,
I love that. I'm the same way. I love that.
I'm not. I'm a little bit harsher. But I try. Like my inner Alex, I'm like channeling it at all times.
Yeah.
So you're in the elite, and I know we're supposed to be doing the podcast thing. Are you okay with this? Because
I love it. I love it. This is the best part of my day. This is the best part of my day.
Good, man. That's awesome. Considering I know you can access Dan in there, I'll take that victory. So Elite. Is that the mastermind where they go snowboarding and they jump out of the helicopters? Or is that his other program?
So he offers that to Elite. That's more of his what does he call that?
It's the
His like
next level.
it's like the private sessions
Yeah.
of the for the day or whatever. I've never been to that yet. I actually the only time I met him in person was the other day. But all of those seem
cool.
people leave and it's like they met
I'm
mean
aware.
a superhero. Like it's wild. But Elite is more it's just the
they're all
coaching every
superheroes.
day.
The
Oh,
ones that go to
their team is
So,
incredible.
Well, even his clients at that level, right? Like, I mean, that's a Justice League type experience.
Well,
And
that's the crazy thing because week after week, you're meeting these people and you're talking to them, and like very quickly, you're like, "Oh, this person is levels above me. Got it. Like, understood. Yes."
in terms of delivery,
yeah,
yes.
like
In terms of what they've
yes.
done, sure, maybe.
But it's
We're
cool.
all
It's cool to be around that though. Like, I love
It's
like
important.
just being around those entrepreneurs, and I'm just like, dang, like we got some heavy hitters in here. It's a good feeling for sure, and that's the type of crowd that I love being a part of. So it's just it's very cool stuff for sure.
Yeah, no, who doesn't? That's a big one, and it's leaders lead, and great leaders are great followers too.
100%.
That's something I think people often overlook. But you mind if I share a little background?
Yeah. Oh, please go ahead.
Okay. By the way, so with the podcasting, I do have your form here. We can record. We can use all of this for an episode. By the way, this is all good stuff.
Oh, cool. Love it.
Mind the game, right? LeBron James and JJ Redick, they're always behind the scenes talking, and they film all that stuff, and they work it in. So we're big on that. There are people who come onto this show, and I've got 4 hosts of our show. I'm not the only one, and so with that. But this is my baby. It's not theirs. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Anyway, we get these people who come on here, and they'll be like, hey, we'll say, hey, how you doing? And they'll be like, I don't want to pitch. I don't want to pre-show. I've been on 300 of these. I'm ready to go. And we're like, all right. You got it. Let's do
Rock and roll.
And we'll do it, and then we'll say, "Hey, thank you. Let's get this out in 3 to 6 weeks. This will be produced. Anything else we can do for you? Nope. Okay. Get out. We don't want them. We don't need them here. We love them from a distance, but I know they can't afford their sunglasses. I know they drive a car that they can't afford. I don't need that crap. Not the crap, just the love." So then there's the other guests who come in, and the other guests that come in, they're a little bit, and again, you get the benefit of the doubt because Ryan was excited about you, and I went and looked. I was like, okay,
that's awesome.
guys, okay, and you got Dan Martell, and you got some good stuff going on. I was like, Dan Martell doesn't waste his time. I know that. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. And the great guests come in, and they've probably been on more than the hot shot, right? But they don't ever need to say it. Right. They say Jackson, or John or Sue or Ryan, hey, what can I do best for your audience? And how does distribution work for you guys? Is there anything that we can do to help with distribution? And it's those leaders that are not hard to spot when you know what to look for.
Isn't that funny that there's so much more? Like I feel like every business has that. Like my top clients, everything is like they're my friend and like everything's organized. But then people who are a pain, it's like they're fighting you, tooth and nail over a dime, and you're just like, it's so interesting though that's kind of the levels to it. It's like the people who are, you're at the really pushing revenue for you. In my case, maybe are so easy and so easy going and like so easy to talk to, and I can just call them up, and be like, hey, what's going on? But other people, everything is a problem. I feel like every industry has that for themselves in a different way.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's human nature.
Yeah.
It's survival instincts. And most of us on the earth are stuck in survival instincts. And so if we don't know how to recognize that and coexist with it, this world can be a very difficult journey and place. So it's I've learned quite a bit from Dan Martell about that. We are not buddies, by the way. We don't know each other that well. We would be. My wife one day was watching me with my first wife. I was watching a YouTube video of Dan in the kitchen. This was in 2016 or so. And I think I was studying the video because we were running these YouTube ad campaigns. And so she comes over and she goes, "Is that you?" I was like, I know, right? I was like, this is so weird. It feels like I'm watching myself talk. I was like, and so I had this weird little obsession with Dan after that point. But yeah, he did a lot of great things for us.
Rightfully so, man. His content is crazy. I mean,
Not bad.
did you get into him by reading his book by any chance? Or really?
I'll tell you.
That's how I got into him. And like ever since then, I've been like, I'm watching this guy's content every day, same time, figuring it out.
Well, and I'm going to be excited to dive in when I finally get to ask you, tell me about your vision. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there, and the merch and the influencer type opportunities and what's going on there. But before we do, yeah, so I'll dive into that. So here I was. I'll give you the shortest version possible, and the realest version possible. I was in Uruguay. I got slapped by an angel. Before that, I went to school, went to university, got a 0.33 GPA. Rocking it. That takes hard work to make that happen. And dated a lot. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And went to Uruguay, got slapped. Hear a voice that says, "Jackson, why don't you go home, take advantage of your education for once in your life, learn about business, and help as many towns like this as you possibly can." And all of a sudden, my missionary moment and all that stuff that I was doing church-wise, nothing wrong with that, but I just knew, like, oh, okay, like, all right, that's what I'll do. I didn't know I needed to get into business. I didn't know what it meant to go like take my education seriously. I just knew that that's what I needed to do, and so I came back, got told absolutely not. Ended up in an MLM company. Did super well at that. 9 months later, I had a check for $8.66 to show for it, and lots of credit card debt. And then I ended up at Lifetime Fitness. I was the first sales rep hired without a degree because I was tenacious and just annoying, and got in. And then I went to work for a little startup after I got married in Austin, Texas. And we recently I read $100 million offer a couple years ago, and
get out of here, Alex Hormozi. Of course, come on, man.
Starts talking about Lloyd from this newspaper industry company. I'm like, that's my first startup. There it is. You got the models. You're in the new program. There it is. So he starts writing about my first startup. I was the first hire at the startup that he was writing about.
You're kidding.
At the news? No. You can imagine. I'm listening to the book and I'm like,
you're like, is that me?
What? Like, he's talking about Lloyd. And so, and he gets the story wrong.
That's so funny.
And so that's even weirder because it's like, I got to talk to Alex about this someday because he missed the mark on using the example of Lloyd. So him and I got to talk about why he assessed Lloyd the way he did and whether Lloyd changed or what happened, because it's not how the story went. But that's okay. We're all learning. And I love Alex, by the way. So I don't know him at all. I've never met him. I look forward to it though. So here I was working for the startup, and turns out they're part of this incubator thing called Y Combinator. I didn't know what that was either. And, Paul Buchheit invented Gmail, and I was like, I know what that is. And Matt Cutts, search director of Google. I was like, I know what Google is. That's cool. And so we burned our cash. I got laid off with everybody else 6 months later. And I came back to work for free for a month, and I closed 21 newspapers. And they had 7 in 7 years. And so we ended up, it was about a $40,000, $35,000 cash transaction with a 70-30 split, on ongoing revenues for what we did for them. But, 2 weeks later, Paul Buchheit and Matt Cutts sent us $10 million because they saw that we proved the concept. And so it was a really, really weird, windy path. I ended up leaving the company, because I was a horrible leader and I wanted to be like the king. And so I'm climbing ladders everywhere I can go. And my buddy Jake Larson calls me. I start Restaurant Connect with Adam. And so we start this little bitty restaurant software, taking on Open Table and doing dining room and reservation management. And we had a far superior system to them. We just didn't have 20,000 restaurants like they did. But
how far after did you start that compared to Open Table?
Adam probably started at 3 or 4 years after Open Table.
So they had a big lead.
He started in like 2010. And oh yeah, no, they were already in a monopoly in the market. They'd already cornered all the restaurants, and the restaurants anyway, that's a whole different bag of tricks. But Adam was an executive chef who went to the library, literally started reading how to code for dummies, and taught himself how to build his own software. And so he built this amazing system. It took us 3 years, and at the 3-year mark, we were finally at 36,000 recurring monthly revenues. And we bled out the entire way there. Well, but then we were doing great. Somewhere along that lines, my buddy Jake calls and says, Jackson, I'm about to launch my own business. I need your advice. And I was like, no way, dude. I was horrible to you. He was one of my mission companions. Like, I'm not doing it. I treated you like crap. I mean, he's like, that's why I need you. Everybody's telling me I just should launch this business, but you're the only one who's going to tell me the truth. You're the most critical person I've ever met. Like, that's exactly why I don't want to tell you.
Like, damn.
Yeah. Best compliment ever. And so he says, no, like, I need this. Like, I'm going to lose my insurance if I do this. And I'm like, okay, let me see it. So what's going on? And Jake says, well, I was working for Zag, building iPhone cases. They're doing iPhone cases, and was building a YouTube channel. And we got to 23 million subscribers on YouTube. And the founder of YouTube called me on the phone and asked me to come represent YouTube ads, launching the ads platform. I'm like, did you just say the founder of YouTube called you on the phone? And he's like, yeah. And they asked me to come out the headroom. I'm like, no, like, he called, how did he get your number? I'm like going off on this thing. And he's like, I don't know. He's like, but he called me out. So we go, and Jake's he's humble. He's charismatic. He doesn't get caught up and things like that. And so he goes out to headquarters, and they decide that as they launch this advertising platform, this was also in 2011-ish, 2010, 2011. And they decided that if the advertisement sucks, you should have the right to skip it. Hence the ability to skip after 5 seconds. So he was part of this closed ambassador team of 10, comes out of that, and he says, so Jackson, I created a course, an online course called How to Turn Your Views into Sales, How to Drive Conversions through your YouTube ads. And I'm going to launch a business around this. And, should I do it? And I told him, I was like, Jake, you want to know what I told him?
What'd you tell him?
I said, 6 months ago, I would have said, go for it, crush it, run with this. But entrepreneurship is hard. I was like, so Elon Musk. So before you answer, like, I need you to really think about this. Are you crazy? Like, Elon Musk says it's like eating glass. It takes a crazy person to do it. Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn says it's like pushing a plane off of a cliff and repairing it while it's going down. You have to be nuts. And he's like, I got that. I can do that. I was like, okay, number 2, you don't get it. You have to be freaking nuts, dude. You have to be crazy. Like, you're going to think about this for a day, like, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, but dude, this is hard. So we got the phone. And then we talked the next day. And the next day he's like, ready? I was like, okay. I said, I'm going to destroy your course, right? Like, I've already seen it. It's awful. I was like, I'm going to destroy it, right? And he's like, yep. And so I did about 40 hours worth of work destroying his course, gave it back to him. And I was like, Jake, you have to run with this. You're going to crush this. Like, you're crowned by Google as a YouTube ad expert of the world, pretty much. You could be, so you could be the hugest thing in YouTube. He didn't have that yet. I was like, and then I was like, in the course, like, everybody needs this. The whole world's moving this direction. I was like, you have everything that you need to just crush it. Don't forget me, though. I was like, I've got my startup. I was like, I know I'm supposed to be here. I was like, but don't forget me, man. And so fast forward 6 months later, and Jake was put on stage at Traffic and Conversion with Ryan Dice by Digital Marketer, called the YouTube ad expert of the world. Next thing you know, he's got John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire as a client, Nordic Track as a client, Yahoo.com as a client,
My
Draw as a
gosh,
client,
that quickly.
Dan Martell, SaaS Academy as a client,
That is
REI Success Academy,
wild.
Fortune Builders, right? So he ends up crushing it on this process. And I came to him, I don't know, a year or so later, hat in hand through LinkedIn. I was too scared to call him. I was terrified. I sent him a message on LinkedIn. I said, hey, I am super burnt out on startups, and I'm jealous of the time that you get to spend with your daughter. And I'd really, really love to help you with growth if you want help. But if you're not in a position to where you need that, then Jake, just do me a favor and send my info to somebody who's got your balance. And I hit send and regretted it. There was no undo back then. So I couldn't. And 15 minutes later, he sent me a message. Let's do it, homie. Right.
Dang.
So he flew me out to headquarters. And that's where I started to, he's like, how do we do this? And I was like, I really don't know. I said, I think here's what we'll do, Jake. You got charisma and charm. You're going to be mom of this company because everybody needs to love you. And I'm going to be dad. And I'm going to hold people accountable on stuff. And we got to get the 2 interns that he had working with him trained up to be executives and to take responsibility for what they do. And if we can do that, then we can win well. But I'm going to start putting together the traditional business processes, but you guys have to teach me all this viral stuff, because how the heck do you have 2 interns and have 70,000 people per month coming to your website? Like, this is nuts. I've never seen this in business. And so I got to learn all this cool stuff about virality. And one of the first things he gave me was I went and talked to the 2 interns, and I said, guys, Jake needs to be doing 3 things. He needs to be golfing as much as possible. When he's golfing with other executives, he makes deals. The more he golfs, the more freedom we have. 2, he needs to be speaking on podcasts and at conferences. We need to get him speaking at conferences and at podcasts. 3, he needs to be playing the jazz piano at those conferences. When Jake plays the jazz piano, people fall in love with Jake. If we can have him do those 3 things, why we have to do everything else to get him out. He can't be behind systems. He can't be behind processes. He can't be the one running campaigns, running strategy, none of that. If we're doing all of that and he's doing that, we're going to win wildly. And so they were like, oh, let's do that. So we did that. It was a lot of fun. And then Jake says, Jackson, to help you on this business stuff, we got this guy named Dan Martell, for the SaaS Academy. He's got this playbook process. Maybe you could watch that, learn from it. He gave it to us for free. It's a $2,000 course, and we can see there. And I got to meet Dan once during that time frame. It was a very short call that him and Jake and I were on. I don't even hardly remember it. I just remember it happened. And then fast forward years later, and we met through another program. That's another story for another day. But I did get to ask him a good question about how do I know I'm ready as a leader to bring on a sales team, and how do I go about doing that? And we had a pretty intense 10-minute coaching session, with the group there. But it is, and Jake goes to the mastermind, the helicopter drop, stuff. He goes every year. They're real good friends. So yeah, them, Pat Flynn and Jake worked together as well. And Chandler Bolt, he became a client right after I left. But we had those people, and then right after I joined the company, Ryan Blair came on for his book launch. And so I ran the strategy process for his book launch, and he was the CEO of Visalis, was a $2.something billion company. And so he refers us to Lewis Howes. Lewis Howes came in as a client. He almost botched his webinar experience. I was the guy, I was like, you cannot run this. And Brittany comes on, I was like, he's sick, he can't record. And I'm like, if he does this is going to destroy his reputation. And here's why. And she's like, you are right. Let's fix it. And I was like, wow, cool, awesome. And then Dr. Eric Berg came on. He had 160,000 subscribers on YouTube at the time, and a horrible website. I just told him flat out, I was like, I wouldn't touch your website with a 10-foot pole. No chance. And he took some notes, said, can you guys fix this? And no, we just do video. And I was like, we can't. And he said, give me 3 days. He came back with everything overhauled. I have no idea how he did it. It was 2015. The guy's got 13 million subscribers now. And he's just absolutely crushed it. So then Michael Hyatt came on, T. Harv Eker came on, Eben Pagan came on, Billy G. Marketing came on.
Gosh, come on.
So I got to be behind the scenes on all these and see, who's actually crushing it and who's getting crushed. And how is this process happening? And my job was to make sure that every single one of the campaigns for Jake was one that we could hit a 7X or beyond return, because nobody wanted to hear about it if it was less than that. So I love and revere Jake Larson. He is my favorite mentor by far. And Dan is very cool. And I keep this book on my desk in his honor, because this is his Bible of hiring. What Dan Martell told me, at least.
Put that one in my notes real quick. Hiring.
Well, I will tell you, the first let me look real quick. Yep. The first 25 pages are amazing. The rest is garbage.
25 pages. All right.
Yeah. So save you some time. Dan has a lot of great things, and he is way better than me in the business category so far. But the hiring on purpose aspect, there are some fatal flaws shared in that book that I do not recommend buying into. But the 25 pages, gold. Yeah, man. Amazing stuff.
I think I froze. Can you hear me?
You did freeze. Are you there?
Let me see if can you still hear me?
Yeah, give me 1 second though. Let me pull you off, pull you on, see if that helps. Oh, it didn't. Now we're black screen of doom.
Hold on 1 second. Let's see
Sure.
what's happening here. Let me see if I can turn my webcam.
And I totally ran through our entire time. Are you good on time, or do you need to run?
Oh, I'm dead. This after a stressful day, a podcast just puts it all away. I love it. I can fix my camera. There we go. Okay,
there we are.
Back.
Hey,
made it. Would you say, Jackson, that was the most fun time of your career, or like was it one of the most fun times, just being there and learning all that and connecting with all these humongous personalities and brands?
Dude, I loved it. It taught me the most fun times now, by far.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't just say that. I mean, there's challenges now too, and there's growth challenges, but this would not be possible without that.
Yeah.
Right? Again, especially even just think through like basic imposter syndrome. I was a 0.33 GPA kid who I got the shit beat out of me by business owners over and over. And it wasn't just the business owner would bring me in, but their marketing guru and their operations guru and whoever else, their executive assistant, well, what kind of degree does he have? Oh, why are we following his advice? He's only 22 years old. I get that he's nice and he has these theories, but where has he really proven that? How do we know it's going to work for us? It works for Nordic Track, but we're not Nordic Track. I mean, you know the drill. Like everybody's going to find a way to feel uncomfortable with the unknown, especially when I was gunning for the top. I was much more like Grant Cardone back then. I used to tell people what they should do, tell people what they needed. I acted like God. I created a whole list of sheeples following me. And I was coercing, manipulating, and, taking control of people's visions. And I had to learn the hard way by losing not my relationship, but I lost my position with Jake because of that. He didn't say it that way. He didn't treat it that way. Again, the offboarding experience is amazing. He was so good to me. He checked to me every single week. He is seriously one of my best friends in life because of how he has loved me. And I had to go through a painful divorce as well. And through those experiences, it got me thinking like, wait a second, am I the wrong? Is this my fault? Is there something wrong with my leadership and like how I'm doing things? I'm like blowing this. And so those shifts, they all helped. But to your point, if I hadn't gotten to see what my knowledge did for Lewis Howes, and if I hadn't gotten to see how I affected the Truth About Cancer campaign, and I hadn't gotten to see how, the Dr. Eric Berg's brand came to fruition, like I got to play with theories and put things into place that were speculation. They were just me, like I've got some type of weird gift type thing, and because of how much I study, but I didn't have a piece of paper valedating me.
Yeah,
right. The whole world wanted to see. And so, yes, those experiences molded and shaped tremendous realities. And the time with Jake, seeing him, how he leads, it's not about the people. It was about the way he leads. It was about the way that he shows up for people. It was about the authenticity, the becoming a powerful leader just by being, not by trying to do something like do some tactic or follow some process. Right. He just is. And he lives so closely to that authenticity that it gave me permission to start looking at it. And then JP Sears comes along and does his TED Talk as well. And his TED Talk, same thing. It's like, dang, Jackson, what about just stepping into your real self fully and owning that, not apologetically being you? And so, yes, those were huge, monumental opportunities, and they're connections that whenever we want to tap back into them, we can. We can reach out, but we're building something that is not quite at the stage that I want it to be, to where I go tap those doors. Gary Vaynerchuk's jab, 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 right hook. I'm not making my right hook, right? I'm just giving right now. It's all about that process. And the ones who happen to see what's going on, when they come, we'll honor them. And I'll reach out to Jake soon. But the process of knowing how to honor, I went and met John Lee Dumas in person at Puerto Rico, just a few months ago. Do you know him?
I don't. Johnny Dumas? Where's
John Lee Dumas? So John and Dan, I believe, are pretty good friends too. Entrepreneur on Fire was the #1 podcast on iTunes in 2013.
Oh yeah.
and he's still huge. He used to post his income reports every month and his expenses and how he was doing it, like super transparent on that, up until about like 5 months ago. And I met him at Podfest and got to tell him I was worked on his campaigns and was part of that, and we hit it off real well. So I went down there, and before I went, we had a call, and he charges $3,000 for his calls. So he wanted to meet with me though. We met. He's like, I don't do this for people. And I was like, I know, John. It's like I know full well. It's like, Jackson, what's the smallest thing we can do together, and what's the biggest thing? Send me a video.
Love that question.
Talking about it. Yeah. And so then I said, I'm going to do one better. I said, John, I believe in this thing called the golden window of opportunity. You and I, and Ethan, this applies to you too. We could move to, who knows? I don't want to. So let's use that. Albuquerque, New Mexico. That would be awful. We could move there. And we could open a plumbing business. And I think that you and I would make it to 7 figures within 2 years. Because we're brilliant. Because we have skill sets, we have gifts that we can use. We have the discipline, the tenacity, the persistency. We could do that, but ideas are a dime a dozen. And so I'd rather wait for, in the case of John, what's that golden window of opportunity that we can hit? And so then I went to Puerto Rico on part of my humanitarian trips. We did our thing. I went and visited him, and we had a great, great time. Hung a swing for his baby boy. And then afterwards, he's like, so what is it, Jackson? I said, John, I need to keep meditating on this. I think, what do you offer the man who has so much? And he's like, okay. I was like, I get that. He gave me a hug, took a selfie, and did a thing. But we had such a great conversation about life and family and where we're at, what we've been through and all that. There will come an opportunity to pull these relationships full circle. But I'm in the habit of giving my best to those that I serve. And I hope this series of stories empowers you too with the best. We got to run campaigns for SpyTech Inc., for Real Truck, for what was the other big one? There was another big e-commerce store that we ran some stuff for, but those are the two that taught me the most when I was at Video Power, from a product standpoint and how to really scale product companies. And again, I don't know quite what it is. I don't know what our golden windows look like, but the podcast episode is going to be fun. The episode opportunities, I'd love to bring you back. We want our guests and our audience to follow that process of know, like, and trust, right? And that means the wham, bam, thank you, ma'am model that so many podcasts follow. What authenticity is there? In that, if it's kind of just forced. It's okay if it happens and it's like not meant for a relationship, but your vision, in my humble opinion, is a gift to the world. It's something that you're striving to help people achieve something that's super meaningful. And that means that, given that you're authentic, right? If that's the case, then no, you're not going to be a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am person. That means that my entrepreneurs are going to lean into that and be like, okay, who is this Ethan guy? What is Indigo Promotions? How is that supposed to help me? And so as we look at that, is this a community that makes sense, right? Are we building something that long term is going to make a massive difference for people? That's what Vision Pros is really based on. It's a doorway so people can see our stage, see our audience, and then decide, do we want to do bigger things?
Very cool. No, it's very cool. I love that vision as well. I don't think a lot of people have that. I think most people are very transactional. It's very like, hey, this is what I offer. What do you got for me? That's it.
Yep. Been there, man.
And it's a huge mistake too. I think it makes everything more challenging.
You are a phenomenal podcast host. I appreciate you. You've done such a good job of interviewing me today, Ethan. You got massive hosting skills. So if you, so I don't know, I guess I'll ask, do you want this to be released as a full episode?
Totally. We could. Hey, you guys, I think you guys are the experts. Whatever you think will help the community and land, totally fine with me. I'm an open book, and if anything would help that I said or you said, I think that'd be a cool thing to release for sure.
Sure. I'll take the expert title 10 years from now, maybe. But
Yeah.
I'll divert back to what Matt Cutts taught us about that. And he said, the real sign of an expert is not somebody who knows it all. It's somebody who's willing to go get the answer.
Yeah.
Right. So
That
that's
I
a
love.
good
Great.
question.
That's a great quote right there. That is a great
That made
great
my
quote right
career.
there.
That's the one that made my career, because I was the kid that didn't have the degree. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I don't have to have it. I just need to be willing to go get the answer and not act like I know it all. So
But
fun.
that's also entrepreneurship right there. Like that is being a business owner. Like you are from day one of this company, I've been problem solving nearly every hour of every day. Something keeps coming up. And no matter how much I time block or no matter how much I can plan ahead, stuff keeps coming up. And then all of a sudden, after the first month, you're like, am I just problem solving all day long? And I really, I don't know if anyone's experience has been different, but that's been mine of just
Yeah.
problem solving, problem solving, problem solving. Okay, now I can actually do what I planned for. And then it goes back to problem solving. And it's interesting because on our projects, you're basically just problem solving the entire way. And
Yeah.
you each time you don't know what's going to pop up. And that's what makes, I don't know, my role so fun, because
Right.
the problems get more exciting to solve and they become more beneficial to solve for both us and our clients too. But I love that quote.
Huge, man. And then you got the secret superpower of Dan Martell's 131 in the mix, and it's
Hell
like,
yeah.
sweet. So you have it, man. That's awesome. And
Hell yeah. Love
I'm
that.
excited. I want to bring you back sooner or later. Let's definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
And so we'll get scheduled after the show. I'll go ahead and give you my cell phone too. That way you've got it. But Vision Pros, those of you listening in, whether you see the chopped up version of this or the full version of this, this is the essence of the conversations at the top. When I talked to John Lee Dumas, this was the environment. When we'd meet with Jake Larson, this was the environment. When Irrational Marketing, Thomas Lee McGarrett and I were building that out with our team, and we became a top 50 fastest growing startup in 2017 for the country of Canada. It was because of these types of conversations. So if anybody's ever harping on you as a visionary and it's like, why are you wasting time in meetings? One, don't waste time in meetings. But two, value the meetings that you have that are world-class like this. And if you'd like to join us on the show, top right corner, you'll see the button that says be our guest. Come share your vision with us. You do not have to have a 7-figure custom promotional marketing company like Ethan does here with Indigo Promotions. You could be in the very beginning of your vision, and we want to honor that and see that. And Ethan, man, we'll see you in the next episode. This is going to be awesome. Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.